gender still matters with regard to women's being able to be successful and to move ahead in science. It is also true that everyone who was included in this particular survey, and I would note heavily tilted toward the life sciences, but everyone said that funding was a problem. Everyone said that grants was a problem. Everyone said that the scarcity, well, most everyone, that the scarcity of positions were a problem. But an overwhelming number of the women said that they knew of people who had left the sciences because they couldn't figure out how to integrate all of this stuff, their life and their science. And I think that rather than focus on the problems that were revealed, that I would like to spend the rest of the time probing where some possible solutions might lie and what kinds of recommendations as to how government, industry, academia, nonprofits, and others can help to smooth the path so that we can, as Congresswoman Johnson said, make better use of the talent that is represented by women. I think that first we have to shine a spotlight on the fact that they are in fact issues, but they can't just be issues for the women. I think that is the major concern. They have to basically be issues for families, and they have to be issues for government and for institutions as well. I found it very interesting that Elizabeth Blackburn and Carol Greider, when they were being interviewed, talked about the fact that it wasn't about the women being able to do the science. They could do the science, but it was about having institutional arrangements that provided more options for how that science could get done.
As we look at things like computer science, and many of you may know this, good research from the National Center for Women in Information Technology, we're realizing things like while 55% of AP test takers now are women, very good news, only about 15% of AP computer science test takers are women. And when we look even underneath those averages into issue, our office also enforces Title VI, which is protections against racial discrimination. We're realizing that only about 3% of computer scientists in the country are female and African American, only about 3% are female and Asian, and only about 1% are female and Latino. So we have a very, very long way to go.
And I want to underscore that things that government does really do make a big difference. There was a big increase in the number of women on university faculties in the early 1970s. And I don't know that this was causative, but it was correlated with the actions of George Shultz, who was Secretary of Labor in the Nixon administration. And he told universities, he went back to the affirmative action provisions of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and told universities that if they didn't at least have plans for increasing the number of women on their faculties, they might lose their federal grants. In fact, nobody lost their federal grants, but I've talked to people who in fact received letters that came through at that time, and that was a time at which there was a big increase in the number of women on faculties.
And the first one is a simple matter of equality. This is the 21st century, this is America, and we still don't have equality for women and minorities. Now, as a physics professor, I often consider us like the canaries in the coal mine. And it goes back to this hidden implicit bias where there should be more. I mean, there are plenty of women who like physics or who are studying it at younger levels. And at the level of MIT physics faculty, there are very, very few women professors, and at other places as well. And the matter of equality, it's not just like an ideal philosophy. It really matters for America's future. In terms of minority groups, many of them, and I may especially call out Hispanics, a very large growing population of America, lack scientific role models. So when you want to have an educated voter population on issues like global warming science and other things, it's just not going to be there. And actually, this worries me a great deal.